Hey, it's great to be with you all. And I don't know about you, I just wanted to keep singing. That was awesome. I love that song. All Sons and Daughters did that song, and we actually had them at our last conference. And I love this idea that the poor and powerless are what we're about. This is an honor to be here with you guys. You know, I'm not used to this big thing right here, by the way, so I'm going to move out here in front of it. I feel like a wiener in a steakhouse a little bit, because of the fact that Christine Kane is going to be here on Monday. I'm like John the Baptist. I'm just preparing the way, baby. So in honor of Christine, I would love for us to do something for her. She's probably watching wherever she is, not. I would love for us to do something for her and say something that will help her be welcomed even 3 days early. So when you're from Australia and you're Australian, you say the word awesome, you say it awesome. So we're going to say that together. Ready? Awesome. Say it again. Awesome. And when you're from the South, you say it awesome. Awesome. I love that Christine's going to be here, and I think there's something happening at Liberty. And we get to watch what's happening all over the country, around the world with young leaders. And this is a place, just to give you a little bit of encouragement, from my vantage point, from where we are at Catalyst, this is a place that young leaders are being developed. One of the things I love about young leaders and leaders in general is the understanding that greatness, when you start talking about greatness, great leaders understand that greatness starts with them. If you want to be great, it has to start with you first. Anybody I've ever asked, do you want to be great? The answer is always yes. I'd love to be great. I want to be great. I want to make a difference. I want to have an impact. And greatness starts with you. That's where it begins. It doesn't start with your parents. It doesn't start with your professors. It doesn't start with your pastor. It starts with you. So that's what I want to talk about this morning for a few minutes, is this idea of greatness starts with you. And when I was your age, when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, there were a few things that I wish somebody would have told me. I wish they'd have said, Brad, during your 20s, here are a few things that are really important for you to make sure you're going after greatness. You're pursuing greatness with reckless abandon. So I want to share a few of those with you. And again, the context is these are just a few of the lessons I've learned over the last 15 or 20 years of walking through my 20s, walking through my 30s, now 41, I'm old. One of the things at Catalyst we always say is if you're over 40, you really can't come. But as the leader of Catalyst, I can say if you're around 40, you can now still come, because I'm there. When I look back, there's some lessons I've learned. Number one, first lesson, greatness starts with you. Understand and embrace your calling. Understand and embrace your calling. We have all kinds of people, especially in the Christian community, who want to tell us what calling is. Got a lot of confusion among, especially your generation. What does calling look like? What does it mean to be called? What does it mean to have purpose in life? What does it look like to understand and embrace my calling? Let me give you a really simple definition where your greatest strengths and your deepest passions intersect. That's it. Where your greatest strengths and your deepest passions intersect. If you boil it all down, that's where your calling needs to happen, at that intersection. Now, I'm a rapper. I was in a rap group in high school, this is a true story, called Oreo. You can imagine what part I played. Cream L in the middle. Last name's Lomenick, so I was Cream L. Oreo cookie in the cream, get it? Like it works. When you grow up in Oklahoma, you don't have a lot of things to do. So I was Oreo. We were awesome. We did rapping about picking up trash. Clean up the trash, clean up the litter. Who you think we are? We're not your babysitter. Hello. I thought, along with my friends Brad McD and Sugar P on the outside, my two brothers from another mother on the outside and Cream L in the middle, we thought this was our calling. Man, we were gonna make it. We were gonna start a whole new genre of rap music where Christian collides with culture. We were terrible. We were great in our little town of Bristow, Oklahoma, population 4,000. But we were not that good. But we thought at that time when we were 16 or 17, this is what God has purposed us to do. This is what he's called us to. Whole lot of passion, not a lot of strength. Not a lot of gifts, not a lot of wiring. Whole lot of a sense of, you know what, I can change the world. We can change industry. Not a lot of DNA hardwiring in us that said, this is what we've been wired to do. So many times we grow up in life, and the dreams we have as kids and as teenagers, I want to be in the NFL, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a policeman, I want to change the world. Once we get out of college, and you all are experiencing this tension right now, many of you, especially those of you who are seniors, you're thinking about what's next. You're thinking, I don't know what I've been called to do. And then we get into the work world, and we get into the marketplace, and most of us today, in fact, 80% of those people who consider themselves full-time employees today, when you ask them the question, do you like your job? Not love it, just like it. They say no. 4 out of 5 people in the workforce hate what they're doing. And it's because they're trying to focus on strengths, but they don't have a lot of passion. Where your greatest strengths and deepest passions intersect, that's where you'll find your sense of calling. And one other thing about calling, again, I grew up in the church. I started going to church when I was really young. Wednesday night, Sunday night, I thought for a long time that the only way for me to truly be called was to be a pastor and a missionary, full-time ministry. The reality is most of you are going to end up in culture, in the marketplace, in business, in the government. You're going to end up in places in the middle of culture. And I would tell you and encourage you and hope that you would understand this in your 20s. That is exactly where God wants you. That is exactly the place that God has called you to be salt and light. Don't ever, for once, ever think that you're a second-class citizen in the kingdom of God because you've chosen to move into the marketplace, into the public square. Don't settle for just going through life, enduring 5 days of the work week to only have as your greatest goal to make it to the weekend. That's where so many of us live today. So it's got to start now in your 20s. Love what you do. Greatest strengths, deepest passions. Number 2, lessons. When I look back on my 20s, I wish I would have known. Number 2, set a standard that scares you to death. Set a standard that scares you to death. Our goal, especially as Christians, as followers of Christ, should be to be the best in the world. Period. Period. Set a standard that scares the daylights out of you. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing and having the reputation that those of us who are Christians suck at what we do. I'm tired of it. We got a lot of folks walking around who call themselves followers of Jesus, and they're just mediocre. They're just average. In fact, a lot of them are below average. We serve a God who's great. We should be too. The world will know us by our love. The world would know us by our mercy, our grace, our forgiveness. Yes, all those things. But the world will also know us as followers of Jesus by the excellence with which we do things. Culture is attracted to excellence. Culture is attracted to things done well. If we do our work great and better than anyone else, people will ask Why? Excellence gives us credibility, gives us credibility in the marketplace. And I love this notion that when you walk into the public square as a follower of Jesus and you show up at your office or at your job, that you start with competence first. You know what? I don't care what I'm working on, I'm going to be the best in the world at what I'm doing. You start with competence, which leads to character. And then over here, after a while, when it's appropriate, leads to faith. So many times today, and I don't think people do this because they're trying to get it wrong, but we walk into an office or we walk into a studio or we walk into the public square and we start with our faith. Hello, I'm a follower of Jesus. I got my fish out here. I got my Bible on the desk. I got the 10 Commandments on the cube wall. I am rocking it for Jesus right here, baby, right here in the middle of this office. I'm here. And somebody who's your coworker just comes by and says, you know, like, I don't care about all that. I just want you to get that report done. And I want you to get it done well. Would you please just turn in that report? If you'll turn in the report, I'll listen to whatever you have to say about your God. But until you do something well, I don't want to hear you. Competence first. Walk in and kill it. Walk in and be the best in the world at what you do. Then come over here and build on that with character. You're trustworthy. You're dependable. You're honorable. And then some people will start saying, hey, man, you are the best employee we have in this whole company. And there's something about you that's a little bit different. Competence, then character, then faith. I think that's the way that we appropriately live out salt and light in the marketplace. God demands our best, period. Super Bowl's happening this Sunday. Go Broncos. Yeah. All right, we got a few Seahawks in the room. Got a few Seahawks. I think the Broncos are actually the more Christian team, so that's who we should cheer for. Richard Sherman, he's definitely not following Jesus. I love you, Rich. There's no NFL team that started this year and said, you know what? If we can only be 8-8, if we can only be 8-8 this year and maybe end up third in the AFC North, that would be awesome. Steelers, yeah, exactly. If we can only be average this year, that would be a great year, like, be amazing. No, every NFL team starts out and says what? We want to win the Super Bowl. We want to be the best in the world at what we do. We want to rock it. We want to kill it. We want to hit home runs. We want to be number one. Our job as Christians is to set a standard that scares the daylights out of us. I love what Mark Burnett says, who was here, I guess, earlier this week. He says, making Christian shows or movies doesn't give you permission to make it crappy. And I love Christian films. I love Christian authors. I love Christian conferences. We do Christian conferences. But here's what we need more of. We need more filmmakers who happen to be Christian instead of Christian filmmakers. We need more doctors who happen to follow Jesus than necessarily more Christian doctors. I love this Martin Luther King quote. He says, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. Set a standard that scares the daylights out of you. Number 3, create a legacy now. One of the things that I was actually told when I was in my early 20s was this idea of create a legacy now. I worked on a ranch in Colorado right after college. How many cowboys we got in the room? Not Dallas Cowboys, like real cowboys. Like you're rocking some Wrangler jeans right now. Anybody rocking some Wrangler jeans? By the way, Wrangler jeans are the original skinny jean because they're tight all over, baby. Yeah, it was terrible. But I worked on a ranch. I wore Wranglers. I wore the cowboy hat, the tacky Western shirt, out in the middle of Colorado in the mountains. And I had a 75-year-old man who was the owner of this place called Lost Valley Ranch. And we would meet for breakfast every morning. And he was 75 and I was 25, and he would say to me literally every Friday morning over breakfast, he would say, Brad, your 20s establish your 70s. Your 20s establish your 70s. The man of God you will be when you're my age is built on the man of God you are now. That was revolutionary for me. At the time, I had no idea what my legacy was. I wasn't thinking about legacy. I wasn't thinking that my 20s are going to make a huge difference on my 70s. I was just thinking, you know what, like, I got to live today. If you want to finish well, you have to start well. Being a 70-year man or woman of God, for each of you, 18, 19, 20, 21, 25, it starts now. Your 20s establish your 70s. The way you start determines the way you finish. And we've got a lot of people speaking into your generation again right now, and you feel the pressure like never before. No generation before you has felt the pressure that says, if I don't accomplish something significant by the time I'm 30, I've failed. Because so many of your peers are going out there and doing things that have never been done before. And there's endless opportunities for you to make a difference. But here is what I would say to you to encourage you. Take a 50 to 60 year perspective. Don't try to change the world in the next 10 years. Don't try to make a difference in the next 10 years. Take the perspective of a 50-year run. We got a lot of leaders today who are being microwaved instead of crock-potted. Somebody loves the crock pot. We got a lot of leaders who feel like, I just got to show up and zap me a little bit and then go change the world, versus being stewed over. The process is what defines us. The process is what makes us. Your legacy is not defined by what you do in your 20s. It's not defined by what you do in your 20s, but it can be won or lost because of who you are in your 20s. Work on who you are as much as what you're doing. Lead well now, which will allow you to lead well later and finish well later. What statement do you want said about you at your funeral? And again, I know that's morbid and it's weird when you're at such an early stage in life. What statement do you want said about you when you die? That's a 50, 60, 70-year perspective. Number 4, be real. Authenticity. Authentic. Be real. Authenticity is the new authority in leadership. It is. It's the currency that's driving influence today. We will never reach our true potential by investing energy into the false version of ourselves. I've got to be okay being me. And for so much of my 20s, I spent a lot of years trying to be somebody else. Whoever I was around, I wanted to be them. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to talk like them. I wanted to dress like them. I wanted to tell jokes like them. I wanted to have the same job like them. It's okay being you. We don't need necessarily the next Christine Kane or Bob Goff or Judah Smith or Johnny Moore. We've got one of those, that's plenty. We don't need the next one of them. We need the new one of them. We need you to be who you are. Don't try to be me. That's the way we hand off to the next generation. So whoever God has wired you to be all of that. The other thing about authenticity is that leaders today who have the most influence, especially in companies and organizations, churches, nonprofits, are the ones who are willing to admit their weaknesses. And this is a new reality in leadership. Used to, the only way you were found out is if you got discovered. We would hide everything. Oh, everything's great. It's all good. Then something would happen and we'd get discovered. I would say that today, those who have more influence are the ones willing to talk more about their failures, to admit their brokenness, to admit that they don't have all the answers, they don't have it all together. Lead and impress your team with your strengths, but connect with your team, have great influence with those around you through your weaknesses. Atlanta right now is the laughingstock of the country. I don't know if you guys watch the news, but we had a snowmageddon, snowpocalypse, whatever. It was 1.5 inches of snow. Give me a break. The governor and the mayor went on TV and said, well, this happened because of something else. And they just kept passing the blame. Kept passing the blame. And everybody in the city of Atlanta, all they wanted was for somebody to stand up and go, you know what? My bad. We weren't ready, and that was my fault. As the leader, I accept responsibility. That's influence today. Being willing to be authentic, to admit your weaknesses. Lead from who you truly are. Be real in all mediums. And then lastly, number 5, hustle, hungry, humble. Hustle, hungry, humble. I love this quote from my pastor, Louis Giglio in Atlanta. Many of you follow Louis and Passion. This is what Louis said recently in an interview I did with him. As a young leader today, humble yourself and surrender that you need to work hard quietly. The best influence you might yield in your organization as a young leader in your 20s is to do phenomenal work at every assignment, whatever's put on your desk. Kill it. Knock it out of the park. Do it twice as good as you think they wanted. Have a great attitude. Deliver early. Ask for a harder assignment. Be diligent. My role is to be great at what I do. Humble, hungry, hustle. For me, this is my life mantra. Those 3 words. Humble, hungry, hustle. I'm not the smartest, not the best looking, not the wisest, not the funniest. Go down the list. I'm not any of those. But I will work my guts out. At Catalyst, the people we want to hire, the young leaders we're looking for to come and join our team, are the ones who say, I will work hard. I will hustle. I'll work my guts out. That's what we need today. When I look back on my 20s, man, if I would have just been a hustler a little bit more, I think it would have made a difference. Hustle, hungry, humble. I want someone who's passionate and hungry, not entitled, hello, and complacent. I want someone who's passionate and hungry, not entitled and complacent. And one just quick thought on this, especially when you're young. Become an expert now, even before you need to be. When you think about where you want to be in 5 years, where you want to be in 10 years, start acting, leading, talking creating like the position you want next, not where you are now. Have a mindset that's all about what's next for you, not living in the present. This is more demanding, way more demanding. So whatever you want to be next, start acting like you're already there. Hungry second, not the arrogant first. Christ-likeness begins and ends with humility. So, pursue your calling. Set a standard that scares the living daylights out of you. Create your legacy now. Your 20s, establish your 70s. Be who you are and work your guts out. And here's the great news. Here is the great news as followers of Jesus. I love this. We're already on the winning team. We're part of the dynasty, the family of God. We've won the national championship every single year for the last 2,000 plus years. The Holy Spirit is within each of us. So that's great news. We're already hardwired. We've already been connected by the Holy Spirit to be great. So now it's up to you. Are you willing to be great? Are you willing to be someone who shows up, works hard, lives out your calling, creates your legacy, and is real? Liberty, I would say this. It's your turn, it's my turn, it's our turn to be great. Greatness starts with you. Thank you.